Look at that little bloom on those petunia seedlings that we germinated. Just starting to open up.
Aren't those just fantastic? So that last video was part 1. This is going to be part 2 of germinating our petunia seeds. I got a lot of questions on these little petunia seedlings. First of all, people were saying, man, you're going to have a hard time pulling each of those out individually. And I want to tell you right now, I never had any intention of separating these little seedlings. That would be crazy. It would take so much time. Now, if I was a hybridizer, I might want to do something like that. But I'm just doing this for fun to show you that it can be done and teach myself something in the process. But here's the one big thing that some of you are forgetting about. We don't have to separate all these individual seedlings. Why? Because we can let the strong survive, because that's what I want. I want the strongest plants with the best flowers, and they're going to emerge. And once that happens, what can we do? We can take cuttings of those particular varieties, those particular plants that are coming out above the rest. So what we're going to do is we're going to pot these guys up into one of those hanging baskets that we had hanging back behind me last year that I kept bumping my head into, and we're going to watch this guy grow and see what it can do, see what kind of blooms we get on it, and then when we see exactly what we've got and the strong have survived, we will pick the flowers that we like and we will take cuttings off of those, and then we can multiply that particular petunia. It's going to be fun. There's our petunia. Isn't that cool? So we've probably got, I don't know, 50 petunia plants down in there, but we're gonna watch them grow. We're gonna see which ones take over and really start filling this basket out and see what these blooms look like. I'm excited to see what this little guy looks like here. For right now, I'm gonna take this inside. It's still getting pretty cold here at night. In fact, we hit 28 degrees last night, so below freezing is not a good thing for petunias. These are gonna go back indoors, and I'm gonna have them in a warm house under bright lights, and we're gonna watch these things grow in there. Once the weather starts warming up more, maybe another month from now or so, we'll bring them outside, we'll hang them up in here and watch them grow through the summer. So here we are back inside under the T8 bulbs. I moved the Willow outside and I moved these guys inside. The Willow can take the colder temps, but I'm looking forward to seeing these guys grow. Now, today is April 12th. That last little video you saw in the part 1 of the series was March 20th. So we've had quite a stretch between these two, several weeks. Let's see how far we can go, what these guys are going to do in a couple more weeks. I'll keep you updated. Let's roll over to it now. And here they are. It is May 20th today, so it's been a little over a month and a half, and those things are growing out of control. They actually started blooming probably a week or two after that last little clip, just little tiny blooms, but then this thing just exploded with growth. Let's take a look down in here now. You can see a lot of that smaller stuff that was underneath the canopy trying to come up now. These things are doing really crazy growth here. The biggest thing I've noticed with these petunias though is because they came from seed, all of the colors just kind of faded into something very similar. If you remember, those original petunias came from all kinds of colors, and when they actually seeded, all of those colors had been bred together, and so this is what we got. I mean, there's probably some of the lightest pinks that we've got in here, and we've got a few darker pinks over here, but that's basically what you've got, 2 different shades here. So that kind of surprised me a little, and you can see like this one right here, it has a little bit different color, a little bit of an orange almost in the throat there, whereas this one right here has almost a deeper purple in the throat. So that's where a hybridizer would come in, and they might breed those two together and come up with something a little bit different. But that takes a lot of time and years to really perfect and get something that is going to be just different and beautiful and something that you can market. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually think all of these came from the pot that had all red petunias. I could be wrong. I'm going to have to look back on that. That would make this even more bizarre, but you can see that these things are reverting back to their original colors. So let's go ahead and clean this up now. Real quick though, I want you to take note. Check that out, guys. All those fungus gnats in there. You want to control fungus gnats? Grow petunias in your house. All right, so the next thing we want to do here is just prune all these guys down and bring them outside, because it's time to start moving all of our indoor stuff outside for the summer. So I just grab up a whole wad of these guys here and we just start snipping through them. I might even go a little bit lower than that even. We just want to get a lot of this excess material off here and give them a fresh start. And there it is, a pile of flowers. Now the last thing I'm going to do here is put these hangers back on this hanging basket, and we are going to hang this up in the hoop house so that I can run my head up against it on a regular basis, just like last summer. Alright, this looks like a good spot right here. I'll probably crack my head into that a couple times before the summer's over. And I may not leave it up here the entire summer because of that reason, but I went ahead and fertilized it with my sustained release fertilizer and then watered real well. These things just suck up a ton of moisture, these hanging baskets of like petunias and fuchsias all through the summer. And so I'll be watering this thing on like a every other day basis in here. But that's it. We've pruned it back, we've fertilized it, watered it well, and now it just sits out here and it will grow through the summer. Now we're out in a cooler environment. I was just in my house with these guys, so it's going to kind of, you know, slow down here in the beginning and harden off a little bit, but we're heading into summer, so as the weather warms, these guys are really going to start just taking off. Boom! There it is, over a month later in all of its glory. That is where we got the petunia basket. Today, June 26th, in just over a month. Here's the other side of it real quick. Now you can see that this is quite a bit different than that last petunia basket we did last year. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description down below. But these guys are actually seeds, so there's a lot of genetic variability. We're not going to get exact clones of the variety of petunias that we had last year. So what do we get? We get a lot of thick, heavy, stocky growth, which I didn't know what we were going to get, but here's what it is. And then we get the colors all kind of blended into each other and washed out. So we've got pinks and purples and, you know, dark purples, and that's about it. But it's pretty. It is a pretty plant. It doesn't grow uniform. Every one of these little seedlings you can see has their own unique little identity to them. Some of them are growing scraggly and all over the place. Some of them have thicker stalks. Some of them have thinner stalks. But that's what you get when you do seeds. And now you can see that this is why I don't do petunia seeds. One, it took us forever to get these things to germinate and actually grow on into substantial plants. When you go get them at the nursery as an already started plant, then they just take off from there, and you can get cuttings, and those cuttings will take off much faster than the seedlings. Two, genetic variability. We got all kinds of things going on in this pot. It's not uniform. It is beautiful, but it's not uniform, and it's not that look that so many people are going for. However, I've got it. It's growing. We might as well let it grow through the summer. It is pretty. So back to that original comment that I was getting from a lot of people. You're crazy, Mike. Why did you cram all those seeds down into one little cup? Why didn't you spread them out a little more so you don't have to pull them apart? Well, that's where this comes in. Now we've grown this thing out into its fullest potential, and we could come along and take cuttings from just the colors that we want. We don't need to separate the seeds. We can take the cuttings now and we're going to get them twice as fast as we did from the seeds. And we didn't have to separate any of those tiny, minuscule little seedlings. So that concludes part 1 and 2 of this little petunia seedling series. I had a lot of requests for it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to follow along. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.